If you own a C5 Corvette, chances are you've gotten in your car and you've seen this. ABS and traction control lights. You went to the codes, try and diagnose the issue, looked into the forums, and they've all led you to this. Infamous ECBM. These notoriously go bad. It's a common problem on the C5s. There's only a couple ways to fix it. You can either get the unit replaced, send it out for repair, or you can fix it yourself. The solders on these tend to go bad. So we have to go in and fix the solders on this board itself. I'm going to show you how to do that with a couple easy tools. Tools you're going to need for the project. T20 screwdriver. You can use a socket, and when it comes to the outer screws, there are 6 that hold it on. The outer 4 at the corners, then you can get that with a socket, but when it comes to the inner ones in the middle, the socket won't fit, so you're going to have to use a screwdriver. T15, that's used for the faceplate screws to get those off. And then this is really critical, and you can buy this on Amazon or at a hardware store, but this is a 1/4 inch by 20 pitch thread bit and tap, and then a corresponding screw, 1/4 inch and 20 thread. And we'll use that in a second. I'll show you where we need drill and tap. Razor blade, there's a lot of silicone holding the faceplate on, some replacement silicone, and then some solder. So let's get to it. This is the hole that we're going to be using to drill and tap, and then we're going to screw this bolt in and start slowly prying off and cutting away the silicone for the faceplate that's on here. So for actually getting the module out, it wasn't too terrible. I would recommend, I didn't do it, it ended up working for me. It caused a little bit of headache is taking off the intake here, at least that bridge, so you give some more room to work with. It is a little bit awkward positioning, and the holes for the Torx screws are in weird spots, so just take your patience trying to get it out. The screwdriver was super helpful with getting these screws out. I can't recommend it enough. And maybe even you need a pry bar or a flathead to help pry off the module after all it's said and done, but not too bad. Just take your time with it for sure. All right, I had everything laid out, so it's pretty easy to keep everything organized. Going through this, I recommend having an actual T15 screwdriver or dedicated socket. Using that little flip open thing was really kind of more annoying than anything else. And drilling through that hole, it's already on the back. There's a built-up area there, so you don't need to worry about when you're going through there. And when you go through and tap it, that hole for that bolt, really get all that silicone off. There's a lot built up. Luckily, mine came off pretty easy. And then just going through and cleaning up all the metal shavings, getting some alcohol on some Q-tips here, and just making sure that circuit board is super clean. This first time it's been opened in a long time. Just really kind of emphasize taking your time. Same thing with my soldering here. I was making sure, well, showing which points I'm going to solder, and then just taking time, making sure every single connection was getting really good solder before anything else, because I don't want to have to open this up and do it again. But just take your time, have everything laid out, have some patience, and it'll go pretty smooth. So these bottom, I kind of pointed out, but you can also kind of look online, those points that I soldered. Those are the points that you're going to need to do for getting this EBCM back up and running. Common point is just those connections go bad. Another common point that causes this to go bad too is right here. You can kind of see that is the relay, and that those 2 points are some of the ones that we soldered. Usually if you send this out to go get repaired, they'll actually replace that relay. Typically there might be a surge of power, and it might over current this relay, causing it to go bad, just causing too much stress on it. So they'll replace it with one that could take a little bit more, and let the system continue running. In the end, it's really not great that this is seeing so much pressure to it, so there's other issues we should probably go in there and fix, but that's a common thing that they do when they do the send it off for repairs, replacing that. Now, just soldering those points, keep the connections good, but if you do have a bad relay, that's going to be something that's going to be pinned out and then replaced. The codes that commonly go with this are some of the Charlie codes. The main thing before you go and take all this apart and all this hassle is test the grounds. There's 2 grounds associated with this. One is right in between the headlight and near the power steering, and the other is right underneath the battery. Those are the two grounds that go to this. So I'll troubleshoot those grounds. That's a common issue with the C5s, and then troubleshoot power as well. The C5 is really finicky when it comes to needing the exact voltage. So check the fuse box under hood. The fuse, I believe it's 5 and 52. 52 is the maxi fuse. Pull up the wiregram, shoot wires, try to make sure that's getting the power ground before you go ahead and take all of this all apart. And again, this is only for certain issues with the module. If it's a problem with the module itself, make sure that you check the wheel speed sensor wires if you're getting any type of comm issues. If you're getting a no comm for the unit, you're going to have to go ahead and check the connections from the connector that go into here, the main connector, and go shoot those wires that go all the way back to the star connection, which is at the PCM underneath the passenger side floor, or even with the SDM, which is then behind the air conditioning control, HVAC control unit. So lots of things, like I said, that can kind of just go on this, but this is just fixing the actual unit itself. So if you have those few Charlie codes, pull up your codes in the, if this light comes on, pull up your codes in the DIC, research those codes, make sure they're actual codes that mean that's the fault actually in here in the system itself. If you have any type of comm issues, it's not going to be something that's directly in here, it's going to be something different. So make sure the codes are actually to what's going on inside of here before going through and doing all of this. C5 has a lot of little electrical gremlins, so there's that. And now there was a whole bunch of silicone on here, so make sure you get that all off good, and I'm going to reapply some here in a second. Just kind of want to, hopefully you can see this right here is where we end up drilling through on that back. There's a little kind of built up area that the drill goes through. Hopefully you can see that. Almost like it's kind of made for it, and it kind of goes through this corner and doesn't even hit the circuit board, goes right through it, and that's where the screw presses up and where you can then use your razor blades to get that silicone off so we can get this faceplate off. Now, before going and reinstalling this, test to make sure that you got it working before you silicone this, have it set, and then reinstall in the car, just turn the key and nothing to change. Just put the screws back on for the faceplate and then go ahead and test it. I already went and tested mine. So I'm going to silicone this and then just reinstall it for good. So that's really it for getting everything done for this to be working. While you're here, you saw me kind of clean off the circuit board. You're already in here, might as well clean it all up, make sure everything's nice before it goes back in the car. Go through and clean all the connections and everything, so it's just one less headache you might have to deal with down the road. So hopefully this has helped you guys out, and no more ABS traction control issues for you guys.